Welcome. Today we're doing a deep dive into the text of First Kings, specifically chapter 19.
Yes, and it's a chapter that picks up right after some incredibly dramatic events.
Right, the chapter kicks off, as the source tells us, with King Ahab reporting back to his wife Jezebel,
He tells her everything Elijah the prophet has just done.
which includes that huge confrontation on Mount Carmel and, crucially, the killing of the prophets of Baal and Asherah.
And Jezebel's reaction is immediate and furious. Absolutely furious.
No kidding. The text says she sends a messenger straight to Elijah.
Yeah, with a very clear message, a death threat.
It's chilling. She says, "May the gods deal with me, be it ever so severely."
If by this time tomorrow I do not make your life like that of one of them. I mean, that's unambiguous. She's promising to kill him within 24 hours.
Okay, so think about this. Elijah's just come off this massive victory, this huge public display of God's power. Fire from heaven, the defeat of the prophets.
A real mountaintop experience, you could say, literally.
Exactly. And now, faced with this one threat from Jezebel, his response is maybe not what you'd expect.
It really is striking. The text is blunt about it. Elijah was afraid.
He was afraid, and he ran for his life. He didn't make a stand.
No, he flees. He puts distance between himself and Jezebel heading south.
All the way down to Beersheba, which is in Judah, so outside Ahab and Jezebel's kingdom, Israel.
Right, seeking refuge. But he doesn't even stop there for long.
No, the source mentions he leaves his servant behind in Beersheba.
And keeps going, alone.
A day's journey further, just out into the desert wilderness.
And this is where we find him hitting, well, it feels like rock bottom. Absolute despair.
He finds a broom tree, just this lone figure under a scrubby tree in the desert.
And he prays, but it's not a prayer for help or strength.
No, it's quite shocking. He prays to die.
His words are so raw. I have had enough, Lord.
Take my life. I am no better than my ancestors.
Wow. You feel the weight of that. He feels like it was all for nothing, maybe, that he's failed just like those before him, and now he's hunted anyway.
It seems like total burnout. Physical, emotional, spiritual collapse. After such a high, such a low.
Exactly. And he just lies down under the tree and falls asleep. Just gives up, it seems.
So what's the key insight here, maybe, from this moment of just utter despair?
Well, I think one thing is just how human Elijah is here. You know, even after incredible miracles, faith doesn't make you immune to fear or exhaustion or feeling completely overwhelmed.
That's a really important point. It makes his experience relatable. Even if the circumstances are extreme, it sort of validates those moments when you just feel like you can't go on.
Precisely. But thankfully for Elijah, the story doesn't stop there under the tree.
Right. Things take a turn. There's an intervention.
Yes, divine intervention. But it's quite gentle, almost practical at first.
An angel appears, touches him.
And the message is simple. Get up and eat.
And look, there's food waiting for him. Right there in the desert.
A cake of bread baked on hot coals and a jar of water. Basic stuff, but miraculously provided.
He eats, he drinks, and then what?
He lies down again. Still exhausted, apparently.
The first meal wasn't quite enough, maybe.
Seems like it. So the angel comes back. A second time.
Touches him again. Same instruction.
Get up and eat, yes, but this time with a reason. For the journey is too much for you.
Ah, okay. So this isn't just about recovering. It's about preparing for what's next. There is a journey ahead.
Exactly. It's forward-looking. And this food, this provision, it's not ordinary.
No, the text says he traveled for 40 days and 40 nights, strengthened by that food.
40 days. That number pops up a lot, doesn't it? It signals a significant period of testing or transition.
Definitely. And this supernatural sustenance fuels an epic journey. Where does he end up?
He reaches Horeb, Mount Horeb, which the text explicitly calls the mountain of God.
Horeb. That's Sinai, isn't it?
Yeah.
The place of the law, Moses' encounters. A hugely significant location.
Loaded with history. He travels all that way and takes shelter inside a cave.
Spends the night there.
Yeah.
And it's in the cave that communication happens again.
Yes, the word of the Lord comes to him.
And it starts with a question. A simple one, but deep.
What are you doing here, Elijah?
Not why are you afraid, or why did you run, but what are you doing here? It asks him to sort of account for his presence in this place, in this state.
And Elijah just pours out his heart, his whole perspective on the situation.
He lays it all out, doesn't he? I have been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty.
The Israelites have rejected your covenant, broken down your altars, and put your prophets to death with the sword.
I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too.
You can hear the isolation, the sense of failure. The feeling that he's the last faithful person standing and he's about to be wiped out. His zeal feels like it's come to nothing.
So after Elijah voices all this, the instruction changes.
Yes, it moves from questioning to a command. Go out and stand on the mountain.
In the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by. He's called out of his hiding place, out of the dark cave.
Called to witness something. And then we get this incredible sequence.
Yeah, this is maybe the most famous part of chapter first. A powerful wind.
Not just any wind, a great and powerful wind, tearing mountains, shattering rocks, immense natural force.
But then the text adds this crucial detail.
The Lord was not in the wind, despite the power that wasn't the presence.
Okay, so not in the destructive spectacle. What's next?
After the wind, an earthquake. Another massive, chaotic event.
Shaking the very ground.
But again, the same note. The Lord was not in the earthquake.
Not there either.
Ugh.
Okay, wind, earthquake.
Then fire. Fire is often a symbol of divine presence or judgment elsewhere.
You'd almost expect it to be the fire, maybe?
Perhaps. But no, the text repeats the pattern. The Lord was not in the fire.
So all these dramatic, overwhelming, powerful displays, God's presence isn't identified with them.
Right. And after the fire,
Came a gentle whisper.
that phrase is so evocative. A still, small voice. A sound of sheer silence, some translations suggest. It's the absolute opposite of the wind, earthquake, and fire.
What a contrast.
Yeah.
And that's where the encounter happens.
Yes. The key nugget here, I think, is how this challenges expectations. We might look for God in the dramatic, the powerful, the overwhelming, especially when we feel overwhelmed ourselves.
Like Elijah, maybe expecting a big intervention like Carmel again.
Perhaps. But here, the divine presence is found in the quiet, the stillness, after the chaos is past. It suggests a different way of perceiving, a different place to listen.
That's profound, especially for someone fleeing noise and threat. And how does Elijah react when he hears this whisper?
He immediately responds. He pulls his cloak over his face, maybe in awe or reverence or fear.
Maybe all of the above.
And he goes out. He stands at the entrance of the cave. He obeys the earlier command to go out.
He emerges in response to the quietness.
Exactly. And standing there, the voice speaks again.
And it's the same question.
Right back to, what are you doing here, Elijah?
Oh. And does Elijah change his answer this time?
Nope. He gives the exact same speech, word for word. I've been zealous. They've rejected the covenant, killed the prophets. I'm the only one left. They're trying to kill me.
Still stuck in that same loop of despair and isolation.
It seems so. Maybe he needs to say it again. Or maybe it just highlights how deeply ingrained that perspective is for him right now.
But this time the divine response is different.
Yes. No more questions about why he's there. The focus shifts entirely. It moves to action, to mission.
Concrete instructions.
A
path forward.
Exactly. The answer to his despair isn't just there, it's renewed purpose, even if it's difficult.
And the instructions are very specific. First,
Go back the way you came. Which is interesting. He has to retrace his steps, head back towards the danger zone.
and go to the desert of Damascus.
Yeah.
Okay, so return, then a specific destination.
Second instruction. Anoint Hazael king over Aram. That's Syria. He's getting involved in international politics now.
Third, also anoint Jehu, son of Nimshi, king over Israel. That's huge. Appointing a new king for the very kingdom whose rulers are hunting him.
Setting up a regime change, essentially. And fourth, directly addressing that I'm the only one left feeling.
Anoint Elisha, son of Shaphat,
Yeah.
to succeed you as prophet.
You're not the end of the line, Elijah. There's continuity. There's a future for the prophetic ministry. You need to prepare your successor.
So it's a multi-pronged plan involving political and spiritual leadership changes. And there's a hint of judgment tied to Hazael and Jehu.
More than a hint, sis. The text says, Jehu will put to death any who escape the sword of Hazael, and Elisha will put to death any who escape the sword of Jehu.
Wait, Elisha too. That sounds intense.
It does. It points to a period of severe consequences for Israel's unfaithfulness carried out by these figures. Elijah is now tasked to empower.
A really heavy commission. But then, right after that grim prophecy, there's a bit of hope offered.
A crucial bit. The Lord adds, Yet I reserve 7,000 in Israel, all whose knees have not bowed down to Baal, and all whose mouths have not kissed him.
7,000. So Elijah was completely wrong about being the only one left.
Utterly wrong. From his perspective in the cave, under the tree, he felt totally alone. But the divine view reveals a whole remnant he knew nothing about.
That's another key nugget, isn't it? Our perspective in moments of despair can be so limited. We don't always see the bigger picture of what's actually happening.
Absolutely. That revelation must have been, well, Revolutionary for Elijah's state of mind. He wasn't alone after all.
So, equipped with these instructions and this new perspective, Elijah leaves Horeb.
Yes, he sets out to fulfill the mission, and his first task is finding Elisha.
Where does he find him? Not in a cave, presumably.
No, quite the opposite. He finds Elisha out working, plowing a field.
The text gives that detail about the oxen, right?
Yeah, 12 yoke of oxen, and Elisha himself is driving the 12th pair. This suggests, a substantial farming operation. Elisha isn't some ascetic hermit. He's part of a working, probably prosperous family.
And Elijah's approach is striking. It's nonverbal.
Completely. He just walks up to Elisha and throws his cloak, his prophetic mantle, over him.
A symbolic act. What does it signify?
It's the call. It's the designation of succession. It's basically saying, you're next, follow me.
And Elisha gets it immediately.
Instantly. He leaves the oxen right where they are and runs after Elijah.
But he has one request first.
Yes, let me kiss my father and mother goodbye, and then I will come with you. A reasonable request, you might think. Family farewells.
And Elijah's response is a bit cryptic, isn't it? Go back. What have I done to you?
It is a bit ambiguous. Is it just permission? Sure, go say goodbye. Or is it a challenge? Like, go back if you need to, but understand the significance of what just happened with this cloak. Do you grasp the call?
It forces Elisha to confront the reality of the choice, perhaps.
Could be. Whatever Elijah meant, Elisha's actions leave no doubt about his commitment.
Right. What does he do? He doesn't just say goodbye.
No, he goes back, takes that yoke of oxen he was just driving, his livelihood, his past life, and he slaughters them.
Slaughters them. And then
Then he takes the plowing equipment, the wooden yokes, and plows, burns them, and uses that fire to cook the meat from the oxen.
and serves it to the people.
Yes, it's this incredibly decisive public act. He's destroying the tools of his old trade to feed the community as a farewell feast.
Talk about burning your bridges. There's literally no going back to farming after that.
Exactly. It's a total, irreversible commitment to following Elijah. That action is such a powerful nugget about the cost and finality of answering a call like this. No half measures.
A very dramatic demonstration. And after that,
After that, the text says simply, Elisha set out to follow Elijah and became his attendant. The apprenticeship begins.
so wrapping this chapter up then, we've gone from Elijah at his absolute lowest, wanting to die in the desert.
Through this unexpected divine care, the journey to the sacred mountain, Horeb,
That profound encounter, not in the spectacle, but in the whisper.
leading to a renewed sense of purpose, specific tasks, the revelation he wasn't alone.
And finally, the calling of his successor in this really dramatic way.
It covers so much ground emotionally and theologically. Despair, provision, revelation, commission, succession.
Key moments really stand out.
Mhm.
That prayer under the tree, the angel's food, the wind earthquake fire versus the whisper, the specific names, Hazael, Jehu, Elisha, and Elisha's fiery farewell to his old life.
It's a narrative that really digs into the realities of faith, fear, burnout, and finding renewed purpose even when things seem hopeless.
You have to ask, why might this story resonate? Have you ever felt like Elijah to the broom tree, or maybe waited for a big sign only to find guidance in something quieter? What does this suggest about finding your way forward after hitting a wall?
And maybe a final thought to leave you with from this deep dive. Think about that contrast between Mount Carmel, the public spectacle, the fire, the direct confrontation that led to fear and flight, and Mount Horeb, the hidden cave, the quiet whisper, the private recommissioning that led to renewed action. What might this shift suggest about the different ways purpose is found or reinforced, moving from the loud confrontations of life to perhaps quieter, more internal moments of clarity? Something to mull over.